Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Islam Channel's news. Here on Islam Channel, your trusted destination for comprehensive coverage of the Palestinian war. I'm your host, Chris Banbury, and these are our headlines. The Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, in his first speech since the death of Saleh al-Aruri, stated that the Lebanese group is unafraid of war, but refrained from announcing an escalation in attacks against Israel. A senior Hamas official, Saleh al-Aruri, was killed on Tuesday in an Israeli drone strike in southern Beirut in Lebanon. Israel has not officially claimed responsibility, although the United States has indicated it did it. 9 Hezbollah members were killed in Israeli strikes along the Lebanese border in clashes with Israel on Wednesday. Over 22,313 Palestinians have now been killed by Israel in Gaza. 75% of those are children, women and elderly. At least 14 individuals have been killed and several others injured in an Israeli airstrike targeting the residents of the Salah family west of Khan Yunis. For the past 3 days, humanitarian agencies have faced challenges in delivering aid to the north of Wadi Gaza in the central part of the Palestinian enclave, according to the United Nations. The International Court of Justice has scheduled public hearings on January 11th and 12th, during which South Africa and Israel will present oral arguments and charges of genocide. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has condemned attacks on civilian vessels in the Red Sea, emphasising the need for all parties to contribute constructively to securing the sea lanes in that area. Now we're joined by Kaiser Ankerstum, who's a human rights activist based in London. She's been taking part in direct action protests against Elbit Systems with Palestinian Action. Prior to this, Ankerstum also worked with the International Solidarity Movement in the occupied West Bank. Now, Kaiser, let's start with this company, which is in Britain, Elbit Systems. I mean, this is an Israeli-owned company. It has 8 sites in Britain, including one where it builds drones in Leicestershire, drones which are, I presume, being used now in Gaza. So tell us something about this.
So it's no secret that Elbit Systems is operating in the UK. They even mention on their website all the sites that they manufacture from. Palestine Action has managed to close one factory in Oldham called Ferranti Technologies and cost Elbit Systems £260 million in Ministry of Defence contracts which were lost because Elbit could no longer keep those sites secure because activists were entering into those sites and dismantling the terrorist infrastructure and rendering these factories inoperable for up to 2 weeks. They also forced the headquarters in London to close by repeatedly blockading the entrances of the building. They even got on top of the building one time and they've been exposed. Their sites are readily available online, and Palestine Action will continue to take direct action to close Israeli arms manufacturers down. You can go online at www.palestineaction.org and join up to one of their workshops to find out how to take direct action against Elbit Systems in the UK.
Well, Elbit manufactures 85% of Israel's drone fleet. And drones are being used to a murderous effect in this war in Gaza, both now and previously in 2021, haven't they?
They have, that's right. Elbit repeatedly tests its weapons upon the Palestinian population. Every time that Israel goes to bombard the Gaza Strip, they are readily working alongside the Israeli army, developing weapons and marketing them as battle-tested across the world. We've seen that their lethality is not precise. We're seeing that in the increasing amount of civilian casualties in Gaza.
And I mean, this is Israel has got a huge, uh, it calls it a defense industry, a military industry, which is now means that Israel is one of the largest exporters of arms in the world. But also, from what I can understand with Elbit, you're also seeing the expansion of that Israel manufacturing capacity into the United Kingdom and I would guess other countries as well in the West. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's manufacturing in Europe. It's manufacturing in the US. It's manufacturing here in Britain, and also I believe in Australia. Palestine Action has now gone global. There are actions being taken in Europe, America, and in Australia as well as Britain. So I mean, we're all seeing what Israel is capable of, and what damage it can inflict upon the Palestinian population with these weapons and these drones. And we can't have autonomous flying death machines, um, that that nobody can be held responsible for for killing, for using these machines and killing human beings. Like there is no other sadistic kind of company out there as sadistic as the arms company. I mean, they're literally perfecting lethality uh, with every single piece of machinery that they have, and we have to stop this because it's not going to end here. It's not going to end here.
Well, we're just going to watch this report on Elbit Systems and I'll come back to you to discuss it further. We're joined once more by Kaiser Ankerstom from Palestine. You know, that was a successful action. I mean, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yes, it was multiple actions that forced Ferranti to sell, Elbit to sell. There was multiple occupations, rooftop occupations. There was regular community protests at the factory, and police were there basically 24/7. And I believe that these protests were going on for well over a year before the factory actually closed. I was involved myself in a rooftop occupation in Leicester at UAV Engines, which is a subsidiary of Elbit Systems. And we actually occupied the roof for a whole day, and proceeded to dismantle the factory from the outside. And we actually forced that factory to close for 2 weeks, and they were unable to make deadly Israeli drones during that time. So, you know, we need more people to join Palestine Action in order to continue to take consistent direct action against Elbit in this country to close them down. And I would urge people to go online at www.palestineaction.org and sign up to one of their workshops to take direct action against Elbit systems.
I mean, we're all seeing protests against the British Barclays Bank, which is being accused of owning shares in Israel's war crime. I mean, again, that with Israel heading towards the International Court of Justice next week because of charges of genocide, there is an argument that there must be a potential complicity in Israeli war crimes for these companies, Elbit's UK subsidiary, for Barclays Bank, and so on.
Yes, not only are they complicit, they know what's happening in Gaza. They know where this money is going and what it's used for. So we have to force them to divest from Israel's apartheid project.
Now, you were, as part of the international solidarity movement, you were in the West Bank. Can you tell us a little about your own experiences in the occupied West Bank?
That's right. I went over 5 times in the past 6 years. I volunteered along the Palestinian community, picking olives at the olive harvest, attending demonstrations against the Israeli army, um, helping Palestinians to access land which has been taken by Israel, um, and advocating for Palestinians wherever possible. We're also counting numbers of Palestinian children going through checkpoints for the United Nations, and intervening where there were cases of settler violence against Palestinians, and also trying to de-arrest Palestinians that were being unlawfully arrested by Israeli soldiers.
Now, we've seen, I mean, prior to the 7th of October, we've seen a surge in violence by Israeli settlers in the West Bank. Did you experience any of that yourself directly?
Yes, I did. Walking down Al Shahada Street, I was regularly attacked with other international activists simply for wearing the Palestinian kufiya. We wear the Palestinian kufiya to represent Palestinians who are not allowed to walk down their own street, Al Shahada Street in Al Khalil, Hebron. So I was attacked, but it's nothing in comparison to the violence that Palestinians are facing by these settlers who are driven by ideological hatred, because they know that Palestinians are indigenous to that land.
I mean, that's an interesting point because these are, many of these have come from the United States and elsewhere because of their extreme Zionist beliefs, which are, I mean, many would argue are racist.
Not only racist, but deadly to Palestinians. So, I mean, not only are they coming from America, but there's a whole settlement, illegal settlement in the West Bank called Arial, and that is full of British people. British as day, sounding like my voice, you know. Um, and in Al Khalil itself, the main settlement in Tel Rumeida, which is a Palestinian neighborhood that Israel has enforced this illegal settlement upon, most of those people speak with a Brooklyn accent.
And you know, you described Israel as an apartheid state. It's a term which is used by Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and indeed Israeli human rights organisations. I mean, just tell me your own experience of what an apartheid state means in the West Bank.
So it means checkpoints everywhere. It means your restriction of movement. It means that you can be targeted by tear gas, live ammunition, rubber coated steel bullets, batons. It means that you can be arrested in the middle of the night without charge or without trial. It means you can be put in administrative detention, which was a British law, a British rule, which Israel has continued to extend. It means that you can't build upon your own land. It means that you can be ethnically cleansed from your land. It means that you can be without rights in a refugee camp. It means that your siblings could be murdered at any time. It means that that you have a different ID card to everyone else. It means that that every single facet of your daily life is dictated to by somebody that looks down on you, that hates you, that wishes to see you beneath their boot. That's what it means. And I can't effectively describe
I mean,
what it's
that's
like
an
living under
interesting
them.
point, because when we talk about an apartheid state in the West Bank, those settlers operate under Israeli law.
Yes.
And as you've pointed out, the indigenous Palestinian population are under a completely different legal system, inherited from the British administrative detention, which we've seen thousands since the 7th of October, and before that, put in detention, including children.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I just can't effectively describe what it is like for Palestinians. It really is an evil system that they are forced to live under. They're under a militarized law. They're under a military occupation, and it's the army that that deals with them. And with the Israeli settlers, they're under civil Israeli law, so they just get dealt with by the police. Very rarely. There's always disparity there.
And Kaz, I was just going to watch this clip of settler violence involving Israeli children in the West Bank to reinforce the point you're making.
I think that I have to do everything in order to live together, because I believe in life and I want to live and I want that others to live, not to die. And I think that only if people feel equal all over the world, then they don't fight each other. And that's the only way is to live together and have live in equality. That's the only way. So I don't know what will happen, but that's my way. I'm anti-violence. I don't think that anyone is winning the war. Everyone is. People are dying, and I think that everyone wants to live. So that's my way.
קור הוא קיבל 370 דונם. עכשיו הקפיצו לו את דונם, וזה עלה עכשיו וקיבל, וזה רק בגלל המלחמה ובגלל אורית. אתה חושב רואה.
בית קפה כזה, נו. בית קפה, נכון, זה נכון. זה פיל בית. I feel like I wanted to do something to promote peace, to promote helping Palestinians against the violence of the settlers for a very long time, and I got cold feet and I didn't do it. And ever since the war, it seems like everybody is in such a rage and everybody is in so much anger, and like everybody is taking action. So I felt like if I believe in peace, I should take action too. But I think that if there's 99% chance that there will never be peace in the Middle East, if we do something, and there's 100% chance that there will never be peace in the Middle East if we do nothing, then we got to do something for that little 100% that things will be better and the two people can start trusting each other.
A tiny minority.
A very tiny minority, yes. That's my feeling. I live in Jerusalem, so maybe it affected because I think people who live in Tel Aviv feel like there's more people like them. But you know, coming from where I came from, living in Jerusalem, and reading things online didn't really give me the feeling like we are the majority. So.
لا بس بذلك علينا تبع البقر هذا بذلك علينا للمسارح الغنم يعني بقطع بمسارح الغنم هان مش خلينا الغنم ترعى في تقطعيش وانا بزرع يعني انا بزرع زرع هان وهان بيجي البقر باكله بيأذي علينا بس انا اقول لك يوم اجى المستوطن هان بذلك علينا في مسارح الغنم هذاك اليوم يحكوا لاولادي كنت ضربوا على الغنم يعني حجار وضربوا شيء على الغنم هذا
והחבר'ה...
עד بدك 39.
كان في 82 سنة الذئاب عنده بيجي 8
Welcome back. Just to correct what I said earlier, that was a report of Israelis shielding Palestinian farmers from settler violence. But I think we're joined again by Kaiser Ankerstom. I mean, we saw there, I mean, we've seen instances of settlers going into fields and uprooting olive trees which have existed there for thousands, if hundreds of years. And yet they seem to be able to act with impunity. The Israeli Defense Forces look on and indeed assist them if necessary.
The Israeli Defense Forces actually facilitate settler violence. They will overlook them from a distance and watch the violence unfold and intervene if it seems like the Palestinians are defending themselves effectively. They'll fire tear gas, they'll go in and they'll separate them. And not only that, we've actually seen Israeli forces go into Palestinian villages with armed settlers in recent months, into villages in order to carry out a campaign of ethnic cleansing, terrorizing the whole community.
Now, while we should concentrate on the killings of Palestinians, we have also seen British activists being targeted by the Israeli Defense Forces.
We have, yes. Rachel Corrie, well, she was American and she was run over by an Israeli bulldozer. There was a journalist who was killed as well. I believe his name was Tom.
Okay,
yes,
Kaiser Ankerstom, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to move to the break now. Okay, thank you very much to join us from Palestine Action and for your insights there. We're now going to take a short break, well, a longer break, and we're going to rejoin our rolling coverage of news of the war in Palestine and the growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza at 3 p.m. GMT time.